Tragic events have a long history of spawning conspiracy theories about how they could have occurred. The litany of presidential assassinations is replete with such musings, and the 9/11 atrocities have proved no exception. Chief Washington correspondent Jim Angle reports on those who believe the Bush administration planned the 9/11 attacks.
For most Americans, 9/11 is remembered as a stunning tragedy, but for some it was also a massive conspiracy engineered by the U.S. government.
We have treason! We have mass murder! They blew up the World Trade Center!
It was a psyop, a psychological operation. It is all a hoax, and how they did it exactly, we don't know.
Morgan Reynolds, a former Labor Department economist, sincerely believes there were no hijacked airliners. Others believe planes did hit the buildings, but that the government knew about it in advance and let it happen.
Well, I'll say it had to be by design. It had to be contrived. It had to be arranged.
Those are the two different strains in what its members call the truth movement.
There's so-called LEHOP, which is let it happen on purpose, that the government simply had a stand down and allowed 19 young Arabs to finish their task. The strong complicity argument for the U.S. government is MEHOP, make it happen on purpose, that the government actively conducted 9/11.
Skeptics may differ on some details, but not on what they claim motivated U.S. officials to murder their own countrymen.
It's about oil, Israel, and logistics for the global domination project.
The motive, to be blunt and concise about it, would be resource theft and world domination by the American empire. That's it in a nutshell.
As with any conspiracy theory, the skeptics offer elaborate details. They contend the Twin Towers could not have been brought down, for instance, by plane crashes and fires from jet fuel, that it had to be explosives placed in the building well in advance.
That points right to the White House in that it's an inside job, because you would need access to these buildings. You would need security bought off or looking the other way.
There was no photographic evidence. There was no eyewitness evidence that these were in fact controlled explosions.
The National Institute of Standards and Technology spent 3 years examining the damage, looking at 7,000 photographs and 150 hours of videotape. The chief investigator says it is unusual for fire to topple a building, but says the jet fuel created fires as hot as 1,000 degrees, weakening the steel skeleton of the building.
You lose pretty much 85 to 90% of the strength and stiffness of steel. In some regards, it becomes like Play-Doh, very weak and malleable, very plastic.
But the skeptics are unimpressed and insist on another investigation, even a grand jury look into 9/11. But with several investigations already completed, it's unlikely any official report will ever erase their doubts. In Washington, Jim Angle, Fox News.